Okay guys, welcome to the Explain Everything video for lesson 2.9. This begins with a little bit of bell work, kind of reviewing what we did in class on lesson 2.8. So taking a look at problem number 1, we have to find DE. The first thing I'm going to do is label the segment DE with an X, and from there we can create a proportion. So 4 on the small triangle matches up with X on the big triangle. And then I'm going to set that up with, I'm going to choose this time 5 because I have a matching pair with the 5. It matches up with 10. So again, small triangle to big triangle. And from there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to have 5X equals 4 times 10 or 40. And just divide to solve. So we get X is 8, or in this case, segment DE is 8. Moving on to problem 2, it's a word problem. A student who is 5.25 feet tall is standing next to a tree. The shadow of the student is 20 feet. And then from there, it goes on to say the shadow of the tree is 80 feet. What is the height of the tree? So if I set up a proportion where I do 5.25 feet tall and the shadow is 20 feet, this is all for the person. So we've got height over shadow. I would just need to set that equal to height over shadow. So the 80 feet that they're giving me is the length of the shadow. That has to go at the bottom. We don't know the height of the tree. That's going to go at the numerator. And then we're back to cross multiplying. So 20 times X, or 20X, is going to equal 5.25 times 80, which comes out to be 420. Divide each side by 20, and we figure out that the height of the tree is 21 feet. Number 2, check for reasoning, logic. Does that make sense? That's pretty logical. Okay, as we take a look down here at problem 3, we have 1 inch represents 12 miles on a map. That right there is my scale factor. 1 inch for every 12 miles. I always begin with that for my proportion. The distance between 2 buildings is 4 inches on the map. What's the actual distance? So once again, setting up a proportion, and then from there, we'll cross multiply. 1x equals 48, so the actual distance will be 48 miles. Okay, so actual lesson 2.9 is all about percents. Now, there's 2 ways we can find percents. One is the percent proportion. This is my preferred method to do it. There is also a percent equation, but I'm not even going to teach you that because it's a little bit more complicated. So he's going to get a frowny face. Okay, so to find a percent using the percent proportion, we're going to use this is over of equals the percent over 100. Now they're asking me what percent. That means I don't know what the percent is. So in my percent box, I'm going to replace it with X. Where it says of 56, where I see the word of, I'm going to replace that with 56. And it says is 42. So again, where I see this word is, I'm going to replace that with 42. And from there, guys, it's my proportion. I'm right back at it. I'm going to cross multiply to find my answer. So 56x equals 4,200. Divide each side by 56. And we come out with x equals 75. And that's what we're saying. It'd be 75%. We had to find the percent. Okay, here's another one, same situation. We have to memorize this is over of equals 100 or equals percent over 100. If I have that memorized, now it's just as easy as plugging this in. Of 90, that's going to go in my denominator. What percent? That means I don't know the percent. is 54, that's the numerator. Cross multiply from here. 90x equals 5400. Divide each side by 90, x equals 60. Okay, now in problem 2, they want me to use the percent equation, but what I was saying earlier is I don't really ever use that, so I would still go ahead and just do it with my is over of equals the percent over 100. So they're saying what percent, that means I don't know what the percentage is, of 40, that goes in the denominator, is 2.5. Once again, we're right back at cross multiplying. So 40x equals 250. Divide by 40, and we get 6.25. Here's another one. You guys can try this for extra practice. Another extra practice one. Remember, we should be using is over of equals percent over 100. Okay, in problem 3, we have a word problem. A dress shirt that normally costs $38.50 is on sale for 30% off. What is the sale price of the shirt? So I always do this in 2 steps. Step 1 is going to be my is over of equals percent over 100. So what they're telling me is that it's 30% off, so I know 30 is going to go in the percent box, and I need to figure out what 30% of $38.50 is. So this is going to be my proportion. As I go to cross multiply, I'm going to have 100x equals 30 times 38.5, or 1,155. Divide by 100, and I get x equals 1155. Now, that's not the answer. That's just 30% off is $11.55. So my step 2 is now I've got to subtract. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the original cost of the item, in this case a dress shirt, minus the discount. Oops, discount. So the original was $38.50, and I'm going to subtract $11.55. So 38.5 minus 11.55, and it comes out to be $26.95. That's going to be my sale price. Now, there is a bit of a shortcut to this problem. One of the things that I could have done as a major shortcut would be to think like this. If the item is $38.50 and it's 30% off, that means I'll be paying for 70% of the shirt. 70% as a decimal is 0.70. And if I did 38.50 times 0.70, it automatically takes me to $26.95. That's just an option, guys. Okay, so here's another example. This is more like a you try. We could do this in my steps. So I could say, okay, step 1, I'm going to do my is over of. It's 40% off. It's $42.50. I need to figure out what 40% of that is. So as I do my cross multiplication, I've got 100x equals 40 times 42.5, or 1,700. Divide by 100, and you get x equals 17. Remember, that's the discount. So from there, my step 2 is the subtraction. And so in this case, I'm going to take my original amount, $42.50, minus my sale price of $17 to get a sale price of $25.50. Keep in mind, we have that shortcut. The shortcut option would be take the original price of the item and multiply by the percent you need to pay for. So in this case, if it's 40% off, I have to pay for 60% of the shirt. So if I do 42.5 times 0.6, it takes me right to $25.50. Just an option. Okay, problem 4, we're still going to be solving using the percent proportion is over of equals percent over x, but this time the information that they're giving me is a bit different. Now I know the percent is 125, and this time it's saying is 17.5. So I'll plug that in the numerator. I don't know the of, so the denominator is what I'm looking for. But my steps are still the same. Cross multiply, and then from there, you solve for x by division. I end up getting x equals 14. Same stuff. Here's an extra problem that we can try. Again, different information. Is over of equals percent over 100. 30%, they said, so that's my percentage, is 12.5. That's the numerator, don't know the denominator. I'm going to cross multiply 30x, 12.5 times 100, and divide by 30. So I end up getting a decimal this time. It's 41.67. Okay, moving on to problem 5, it's a little bit different. This time we're going to use the formula for simple interest. And in this formula, the I is standing for the interest. That would be the amount of money you earn in the account over time. P is the principal. That's the amount of money I would start off with. Now the R is going to be the rate, but they say written as a decimal. So as an example, if the rate would have equaled 6%, I would write that as 0.06. We always shift that decimal 2 places to the left. And finally, the T represents the time, but it's got to be in years. So we can go ahead and take a look at this particular problem here. I always, as I read it, kind of make an information box. You deposit $840. That's the principal, the amount that you're starting out with, in a savings account that earns a simple interest rate of 4.5% per year. Now remember, I have to take that decimal and convert it into, the percent into a decimal. I'm going to shift it 2 places left. So the rate would be 0.045. We want to keep the money in the account for 4 years. So there's my time is 4. How much interest will you earn? So they're asking me to find the interest. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my interest formula. Interest equals PRT. I don't know the interest. Principal is $840. Rate is 0.045. And the time is 4. And from here, guys, I'm literally just punching this into my calculator right now. And I'm coming out with the interest is 151.2. But remember, we're talking about money, so we want to make it $151.20. Add the I on there, or the 0 on there. If you don't do that in IXL, it's going to count that as wrong. All right, guys, last problem. It's another interest principal rate and time question, but now we have different information. So just like on the last one, I'm going to write in a little information box. You deposit $125 in saving. That's what I'm starting with. That's my principal. into an account that earns a simple interest rate of 1.75% per year. So my rate is 1.75%, but switching that as a decimal, remember I got to shift this decimal 2 places to the left. It's going to be 0.0175. You earned a total of $8.75. Whatever you earn is the interest. So now the interest is $8.75. The question is, for how long was your money in the account? They are asking me to come up with the time. So now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go back to my formula. Interest equals PRT. The interest is 8.75. Principal was $125. Rate is 0.0175. And I don't know the time. So now I have to solve this equation for t. I'm going to start by multiplying 125 times 0.0175. That comes out to be 2.1875 t. And finally, to solve for t, I've got to divide by 2.1875. You should get t equals 4. So it would be 4 years. All right, guys, just wrapping everything up. Here's a little bit of a summary of what we talked about. Remember, I do not use the percent equation, but we will be doing these with the proportion. Okay, so that brings us to our assignment. For today, guys, I want you to work on IXL D2 and D6. These are both going to be to 80% mastery. Be sure to finish the 2.8 practice if you did not do that. And then when you are done with that, you're going to go on to the Math Nation workbook. Hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow.